Good morning. I hope what I have to share with you today makes as much sense or as common sense as I think it does. And I'm going to put it uh, out there for your consideration. The title is Breach of Trust Makes Contracts Null and Void. As I see it, my opinion, creation is a trust. The cornerstone of that trust is a simple yet absolute law. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Any violation of that law voids the trust. Educated people have been told that everything is a matter of contracting. Yet there are basic rules of what makes a contract valid. Contracts can only be created between equal parties. They must not contain elements of fraud. All elements of the contract must be declared and understood by the parties involved. The parties must be able to fulfill the terms of the contract. There must not be any threat or use of force involved in the administration or implementation of the contract. Any deviation from these basic principles automatically voids contracts, making them unlawful and worthless. I've been wrestling for some time with the way the world works, both from a metaphysical or spiritual level and in the realm of human beings, or extraterrestrial beings even, throwing them in there. The idea, for example, taken from the pages of the Bible, when God sends a lying spirit to a prophet, or hardens the Pharaoh's heart, or any other such action on the part of God, is a violation of the do unto others golden rule. God would not want someone to lie to God if God is God. Would God want that? It all starts with God, or Creator. Creation exists, and I'm making the assumption that because there is creation, there is a Creator. However you want to define that Creator is irrelevant to me. It did not happen by accident. It came into being, into manifestation, and something brought it there. Some force, some power, and I choose to use the word God, although that word is suspect in many respects because it's been so abused and so many definitions have been put on it that don't make sense to me. Because if everything is a contract, as I'm told, I mean, people say, well, it's in the contract. It's a treaty that's been signed or something. There are basic, to me, common law principles that are involved in any agreement. And a contract is nothing but an agreement between parties. If there's a lying spirit put into the mouth of the prophet by the Creator or by God, well, that voids the contract. And anything that happens after that is null and void and has no meaning, has no lawful authority. Common sense. Common sense. Yet most of the things that happen in this world that I look at make no sense. Most of the things that happen in this world are violations of the golden rule. They do not come from love. They come from threats and attempts to control. They do not come from a benevolent being, but from malevolence, psychopathy, sociopathy, people trying to, or beings even, trying to control others for their own benefit at the detriment of the other party. The other day, I said, okay, God, okay. I've been asking you to see the world through my eyes. Help me to see the world through your eyes. And I had that prayer going for a few days, requesting God to show me the world through his eyes. What came to me yesterday was God wants to see the world through my eyes. Does that make me better than God? No, I don't think so. Does it make me equal with God? Yes, in a way it does. And again, one of my favorite scriptures is written by Paul. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ, who being made in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. I am part of God. I'm not God, but I'm certainly part of God. I contain elements of divinity. So do you. So does every other human being, and perhaps so do all beings. I don't know how it works. I'm not sure. There's lots of things I'm not sure of. But some things are so plainly common sense to me that there can't even, be a reasonable question. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Rights. Now, somebody started a thread somewhere or proposed the point that there's no such thing as rights. To me, creation implies rights. The right to be treated as I treat others. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Simple, basic, foundational principle. Not complicated, not convoluted, just really, really simple. Treat others how you want to be treated. I want to be treated with respect. I want to be able to form boundaries that are healthy to me. I want to be able to make agreements that I expect the other person to keep their end of the bargain, as long as they are able to keep their end of the bargain. Obviously, if I make a contract with someone and they die or become incapacitated, they no longer have the ability to fulfill the terms of the contract, which voids it. Simple stuff. Not complicated, not convoluted. Simple stuff. But we live in a world where the people that are supposed to be administering the trust, as we talked about a couple of days ago, the people that are the trustees of the trust on behalf of the beneficiaries. Who is the beneficiary of the trust of the Creator? Creation is its beneficiary. And it's supposed to be, from my perspective, that all things work together for good. That there is benevolence behind creation. That there is purpose. That there is meaning. It's not abstract and it's not anything goes. It's not laissez-faire. It has a meaning, it has a purpose, and if I live in a world that doesn't have meaning and doesn't have purpose, I become very discontent because I'm aware that things are out of line. Things are not in a context that makes sense. And I become ill at ease. I become diseased. I become all sorts of negative emotions are born of that because it looks to me like a world that is not just, it is not reasonable, it has no basis in anything that gives value to it. The value is taken out of it by whatever beings think that they have the right by some kind of authority to rule over others, to dominate others, to dictate to others, to force and coerce and cause harm even kill someone else. I mean, it's plain to me. Do you honestly, how would you honestly justify doing something to someone else that you would not want them to do to you? How would you, as a reasonable being, justify that? How would you justify causing harm to another or causing loss or taking something that they need away from them? Like, for example, in St. Petersburg recently, again, I'm told it's not the first time it happened. There were homeless people living in tents. The police came and slashed the tents, destroying the only shelter the people had that allowed them to be where they chose to be. And of course, there are homeless people that are abused every day by police. Where do police get the authority to abuse others, to cause harm, to cause loss? It's not a lawful authority. They are outlaws. We're talking police. But the entire governmental system is out of control. They have what they call adhesion contracts, which are one-way contracts that are forced on people. They're forced by threat. They're forced by weapons. They're forced by force. It is a method of control, but it's invalid on its face. I mean, there's people that are saying there are contracts that you enter because of your behavior. And I mean, this is Neil, and Neil, his nonsense of the group that he belongs to, that there's the law of allowance. You allow certain things that are against the law to take place, and you sort of wink at it and call it grace, and you call it by some other name. But it's the violation of free will. It's operating without the consent of the other, and that consent can only be given with full disclosure, with no fraud involved, with no force involved. Otherwise, there is no contract. There is no agreement. There is no will. Nothing is valid. Creation is not valid if it is not built on basic principles of justice. And there's only one basic principle. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Plain, simple, no confusion, nothing that's hard to understand. Very, very, very simple, very matter of fact to me. I mean, if you can see it another way, please, I want to hear how you can justify injustice. How you can justify forcing somebody else into a contract that they don't desire to go into. How can you justify external authority over another being when you're violating that being's free will? How? I want to know, because this bothers me. This troubles me. I don't want to live in a world where this injustice is allowed to go on, where people who claim to have control and authority and be trustees for beneficiaries violate what the beneficiaries are supposed to be receiving and experiencing as part of their life experience, as part of their human beingness. Who has the right to say you're not allowed to do something that is lawful? Unalienable rights, are they? Or is this something that doesn't have any meaning in this world? If it doesn't have any meaning in this world, get me out of here as soon as possible. Because I don't want to live in a world that doesn't make sense to me. And I want Creator and all the beings that administer the world, however they choose to administer it, I want those beings to see things through my eyes. And I want to love my brother and my sister. I want to do unto them as I would want them to do unto me. I want there to be an equivalent balance between this, with no deception, no manipulation, no fraud, but everything spelled out plainly and clearly. Is that too much to ask? That's what I'm asking of the Creator. That's what I'm asking of my brothers and sisters. That's what I'm asking of the family. That's what I'm asking of life. Be fair. Be just. Honor me. And help me to honor you. Set boundaries so that I don't overstep my boundaries, so that I honor you in the creation of your boundaries, but I expect you to honor me in the creation of mine. That's what I ask. That's how I see the world. And it hurts to see so many people violating the golden rule. And so many people creating what they call contracts that have no lawful value whatsoever. They are null and void on their face, because it's all based on a breach of trust, the trust of the Creator to give us life, liberty, and allow us to pursue happiness in our own way. That's how I see the world on this, well, it's the 15th day of December, 2014, according to the Gregorian calendar. But this is the video for the 16th. It's how I see the world. How do you see it? I'd like you to help me create a world that works for everyone. Please help me. I can't do it alone. I can't. If I could, I would. Namaste.